Howdy-ho, Andrew here, aka Kelp here. Welcome to the Onion Buns and welcome to another episode of Hilarious Gaming Stories. So we're going to keep going down the DAoC rabbit hole. Today we're going to talk about the dragon raids. But before that, here's a short message. Hey all, just a quick mention here. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment on the videos you like. It helps with the YouTube algorithm, which helps me. Takes 2 seconds. So thanks in advance. Alrighty, I have played a lot of MMORPGs, starting with the very first one, Neverwinter Nights on AOL, that ran from 1991 to 1997. And the final MMORPG I played was Elder Scrolls Online. And you can pretty much every MMORPG between then and then, the start and the finish, I have played. And by far, the hardest dragon I ever faced in any MMORPG was the dragon in early DAoC. Now, I know they nerfed it a few years in because people were bitching it was too hard, you gotta have too many people and we all die. And to me, that's what made it special. Like, you needed 100 players or more to fight the dragon. And I only did the Albion one. I never did the Midgard one. I never did the Hibernian one. So I can only speak about the Albion one from experience. And you needed 100 players or more. And most of you were going to die 4 or 5 times over. And then you'd have to get resurrected and then you get back into the fight. It was a monstrous fight. The only downside to it, and I think this was a mistake by Mythic, was everyone that partook in it didn't always get rewarded. And I think that was a mistake because the fight was so bloody hard. And it required so much of the realm to come together that everyone should have gotten a reward, a special reward for it. You know, because it was a long fight. I did 2 of them. I only did it twice. And I want to say the first time we did it, I want to say the fight took an hour to an hour and a half, somewhere in that region of time. And the second time, I think we did it quicker, but I mean, with experience, you fine-tune things and you make adjustments and it gets a little bit easier. But it was still easily 45 minutes and it was a hard fight. You know, you could not have people screwing around. And yeah, it was amazing, honestly. I wish I had, like, I got a couple screenshots I'm going to show you. But I wish I had screenshots from when I played. I didn't take them. And honestly, I probably wouldn't have them available nowadays anyway if I had taken them back then. You know, but yeah, you would go in and it was wave after wave and you had to circle, like you had to literally cover the thing. And the thing was freaking massive, you know, and it was perpetual movement. Like when he turned this way, you had to turn this way, but then you had to watch out for the tail and you had to watch out for the breath weapon and you had to watch out for the stomps. And it was a phenomenally hard but rewarding fight. Like, it was one of those fights that absolutely exhausted you as a player. Like, when you finish this fight, it's like, I'm logging off. I got to take a break. You know, it was amazing. I mean, I loved it. I really did. And like I said, I've played, you name the MMORPG and I've played it. Be it for, well, WoW I only played for 2 weeks. I was in the beta test and I walked away disgusted and never touched it again. But, you know, Star Wars, The Old Republic, I played for years. And I did all the raids, or ops they called them. You know, and none of them compared to this dragon. Let me tell you, like, you went into the ops in SWTOR and you had 8 to 16 people, depending on the op you're doing. And you had to work together, but it was still only 8 to 16 people. For this dragon, you needed 100 plus people before it got nerfed down. I played Dungeons and Dragons online, where the final big boss was a dragon, and killed him 3 or 4 times, and he did not compare. Not even remotely did he compare to the dragon in DAoC. It was a monster, but you want, in my opinion anyway, you want your big bad villain to be that monster. You don't want, I know the modern day players, they want everything easy. They want it easy, they want it fast, they want instant gratification. To me, there's more gratification from defeating something that challenges you, truly challenges you, than there is to cakewalking something for the reward. I honestly believe once WoW hit and later, that is the biggest detriment that all those MMORPGs, except for WoW and SWTOR and ESO, all the rest of them failed. They came and went in a matter like that because they were too bloody easy. You need challenges in your games, and WoW dumbed everything down, and then everyone after WoW just copied WoW. I love Rift, the concept of Rift, but I only played it for like 3 months because within, I want to say 3 weeks, I was max level and had already seen everything they had to offer. Now they came out with expansions later, and I burned through those pretty quickly too, and then I quit again because there was no challenge. If Rift had ignored the WoW effect and gone to what we had before WoW, I think Rift would have been a massive hit because it had so much potential and so much great ideas, but they just made it way too easy. Like, you burn through content so quickly. You know, even the rifts were the big thing for Rift, and in the beta they were actually challenging, and they kind of reminded me of the Dragon because you needed 50, 60, 70 players to beat these full-size rifts. But by the time this game came out, people were beating these rifts with like 4 players. Where's the challenge? And that's what happened in DAoC with the Dragon, is so many players bitched and moaned and cried, you know, I don't feel special. And so they dumbed it down. And from what I never fought the easy dragon, but from what I hear, it's nothing to write home about. None of them are anymore. So yeah, but I experienced the early dragon, and oh my freaking God, was he a monster. Holy bejesus. It was just like, I honestly want to say I think I died over 15 times that first time I fought him. You know, and like I said, my character, Calpir, was a defensive god. So I was a lot harder to kill than a lot of characters. And yeah, this guy was a monster. The only way to beat him was through attrition. And tactics. You needed tactics. Everyone had to be working together and to the same goal. But once you got that, it was attrition. You were going to die. You were going to die many times. Everybody was going to die many times. Like, I saw many times where you saw like 80, 90 bodies on the ground. And it's like, okay, clerics got to start resurrecting people. And, you know, they have limited power, so they have to pick and choose who they're resurrecting to try to get... They want to get everybody up, but they don't have the power. So they have to make these choices. And, you know, so... Yeah, I have great memories of this because it was so challenging. Like, the guild, like when there was a dragon raid, I always signed my guild up, and my guild was, I think at its height was about 40 characters, 40 players. And like, we would easily get at least 30 of those players to come in and do the raid because, first off, the dragon raids were not an everyday occurrence. That's one of the reasons it was special, is it was so taxing and exhausting that it only happened maybe once a month, if that, and even if it happened, it didn't mean it was successful. I lucked out. I was on 2 successful dragon raids. Unfortunately, I got 0 loot both times, because that's where I think DAoC Mythic really screwed up. Is, for as tough as this creature is, every person that partook in that raid should have got something. And I will stand by that to the end of the day. I'm not against hard content, but you got to reward the people that do it at the end. It's just that simple. So yeah, it's like, I looked online for some videos and I couldn't find any decent videos to show you, unfortunately, because I really would have liked to have shown everybody what a dragon raid was like. Even I heard Midgard was a much easier dragon than the Albion. I'd heard from different sources that the Albion had the hardest dragon out of all 3 realms. And unfortunately, I didn't find any good videos. I found a couple videos, but I'm not going to show those. I didn't find any good videos of the dragon raids, and that kind of makes sense, because we're talking, it was 2001, I think this game came out. So, we're talking 24 years ago now. There was no Facebook. There was no Discord. I can't even, there was YouTube. I'm pretty sure there was YouTube, but it wasn't being utilized like it is nowadays. And yeah, so there just wasn't a lot of information. I grabbed a couple screenshots. But even those are pre-shots. They don't tell the whole story. They just show one group of characters starting to get ready for the horde of characters that are come in for the raid, because that's what it was. It was a raid. That for DAoC. DAoC did not have operations or raids except for the dragon, or the main focus was on relic keeps and relics, and that was your raid type of content for DAoC, except for the dragons. Those dragons were the ultimate ops or raid, and oh my God, it's just like, I cannot begin to stress how challenging it was and how rewarding it was when you succeeded. So anyway, yeah, that's my video for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, leave a like, a subscribe, and a share. I'm trying to grow my channel. A like, a subscribe, and a share does me wonders, and I do appreciate it. I always feel free to leave a comment. I encourage everybody to leave a comment. If you did a dragon raid in DAoC, I don't care what realm you were in, leave a comment and tell me about it. Give me your take on it, what you remember about it. I would love to hear people's stories about this. I really would. So please leave a comment. Besides comments getting us to interact, it really does help me with the YouTube algorithm and getting more eyes on my videos. And as always, pew, 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 and shit. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.